Okay, hi and welcome to rtcrescue.com. What I thought I'd do today is something a little bit different. As you can see, I'm in much nicer surroundings and I'm stuck down a scrapyard, getting all hot and sweaty, so it's nice to do a little something from home. All I'm going to do is just a program that I've been using of late is a program called Rescue Sim. I just thought I'd share it with you. It's a fantastic program. It enables you to deliver training to crews either remotely or in a classroom environment, or even for individual firefighters to use as a CPD or training program to just keep ahead of their competencies and play around with some of the scenarios. I've been using it a lot as our services lead instructor. I've been using it in the classroom to deliver training prior to going out into the training area outside to get the practical carried out. Well, I think it's really good. It does not. I mean, initially I thought, I'm not sure, but after speaking to developers and having a play with myself, it's one of these tools which it doesn't detract from practical training. It doesn't remove practical training. It's not a replacement for practical training. What it does is it gives you the opportunity to go over different areas of extrication in a nice warm classroom environment. So if you haven't got vehicles, scrap vehicles, or the weather's not very good and you don't want to get outside training, it's a tool that you can use to complement this by covering areas on a training evening or just in a classroom environment. This also covers various different learning styles because you can use it to look at scenarios and options before you go out to your practical session. And ultimately it opens up discussion and debate on different techniques, different ways we do things. Do we or don't we do it one way or the other? So I'll quickly run through some of the bits and pieces I've been using it for. There's loads of scenarios on here, as you can see through the screen. There's bits and pieces involving coaches, lorries, electric vehicles, ACV cabs, Porsches, some American vehicles, Range Rovers, etc. You've got different bits and pieces here. All of these are live. You can have a look at them all. At the moment the program's free, which is really good, so it enables everyone to sort of use it and have a go. What I have found is you do need to register to access the trainer interactive functions. I'll show you that in a minute. So just to give you an idea of what you can do on it, for example, if you click on the Tesla scenario, you've got two modes here. You've got assessment mode and training mode. So basic assessment mode is once you're happy and you think you know what you're doing, you can have a go at assessment mode, and basically it gives you some information here in the info pad, and then what you've got to do then is complete the scenario or go through the objectives, trying to avoid getting any hints or warnings. If you select training mode, which is what I've done here, basically it means you've got sort of a free reign to do everything without many restrictions, so that it doesn't give you warnings. You can just go through the scenario and revisit it as many times as you want. So what we've got here, Tesla, you can restart the scenario, so if you want to start again you can do as many times as you like, and I think that's really good. You know, sometimes in the yard, once we've dealt with a vehicle, we can't always reset it, we can't put roofs back on, you know, we're stuck with what we've got. So this one here, you've got crash recovery data on there, so you can have a look through there. You can have a look through there and see what is going on. Some data from WaterTech. This gives you some additional learning. You've also then got the Tesla emergency response guide, which is quite useful again. So you can go through that and talk through the different areas of how to isolate, shut down a vehicle, gain access, etc. There's also some modules that are going to be having video. As you can see there, so you've got some video which takes you real time through actually isolating and shutting down a vehicle, which I think is pretty good because it's not every day. You can't just get a Tesla appear in the station yard unless, you know, we're lucky enough one of your crews driving one. So it gives you then a little walkthrough then of actually how to do the functions on here. Then we've got the information bits on here of how to access and do various bits. So you can click around these and it'll give you the supporting information for you to talk about and have a look at. You've also got your different orientations. Like so if you want to look at bits and pieces you can do. and it tells you how to access specific areas. For example, here it's getting into the tailgate, or in this case it's identification. So what we're looking for to identify the type of vehicle. Here over here, you've got various bits and pieces. So when you do the scenario, you can open up the bonnet, you can get your electrical tools. So you've got your various different tools along here. So you can get your wire cutters, you can cut the first responder loop when the bonnet's open. So that tells you about opening the bonnet, and there's other information later on that tells you about these bits and pieces. So you can actually cut this, or the wire cutters are on the scenario, so you can actually go through the process. So the idea with the tool really is it's really interactive, opens up good discussion. It's all about talking about it. It's not designed to be a Call of Duty game or anything like that. It's all about just being able to methodically work through these scenarios and get lots of learning and discussion, but actually interact while you're doing it. This is the info pad that you get in a Tesla. So when you want to open the bonnet, you can click on this and the bonnet opens. Actually, when you do the assessed scenario, or when you play with the functions on here, you can click on there, things happen. And that is actually what you see within the vehicle to control all the components. So other scenarios are, I think, really good. So basic stabilization scenarios. Have a look at the training mode. So we've got a vehicle on its side, so we can look at stabilization. Do we put some blocks under there? Put some blocks under here, or do you want to use a step block instead? We get rid of put that in there. Get rid of your blocks. Move it around. Loads of options, and again, it's just open that discussion. What do we use? Where do we use it? But the beauty is you can use this on a big screen, on a projector screen, so that all your course, all your students can actually see what you're doing and where you're placing things prior to going out and doing it practically on the training ground. And it gives people those different learning styles, different interaction. Again, each vehicle's got a bit of supporting information, so a little bit here about stabilising it. So just to give you that additional supporting information, well, it's really good. Again, you've got your crash recovery data for each vehicle. A good talking point is where you're putting struts. So if you're still using a section of triple, we can place that there. If you want to put a small strut in, you can talk about where you're putting them. Avoiding petrol tanks, fuel tanks, where you're putting your hook hole, any rusted out areas, bits and pieces like that. If bigger struts, if you want to get somewhere different, or you can come in, put a strut on the bonnet if you use the 3-strut system. So it gives you talking points. And I was chatting with the designers today, and they are going to be having a draw for each one here soon. So you'll be able to, a bit like when you're doing a PowerPoint, you can draw on the screen. You'll be able to just click on it, and you'll be able to draw around here. So you can say, right, if we're cutting out the windscreen, or if we've got rear access, we can actually draw and annotate bits and pieces on it. I think that's a fantastic move forward, really useful as a trainer. So instead of going out in the yard first, we can have a look at this, talk about where we're going to cut. We cut up the top here, top of the A's, we cut along the roof line there with recips and various different bits of kit, and we can draw on there. And when we go and do it practically, people have already got a little bit of a visual of what we want them to achieve. Also, when you log in, once you log in, you then get your own profile. When you click on your profile, another good feature is you can see all the scenarios you've done, how many warnings and hints. So obviously not a bad day in the office there, 12 warnings. I don't know who did that. So you can have a look around, and then you can see what scenarios you've done. And then if you're a lead instructor or you're a member of the training team, you will then get a trainer view where I can now, so you can have a couple of trainers can log in. So a student can put in their trainer and then the lead trainer. And as a lead trainer, you can see everyone's history. So this will be either an individual or a station, however you want to work it. And I can see all the scenarios they've done, any warnings and things like that that's happened. And then what we can do in there is you can then write comments. The candidate, if they're logged in, can write comments. I'm currently logged in here as the instructor view. So what I can write comments in here to my student, I then save it, and when the candidate logs in, or at the same time, we can do this real time, so they just refresh their page and then my comments will appear. They will see my comments in there, and they can then reply to it in here, asking questions or wanting to know additional information. And then all I do is then I just write additional comments in there, and the text box can obviously be as big or little as you like. Save it, they refresh, and then they can see my response. And I think that's really good for me, especially when we've got some stations quite some distance away from the training centre. I can actually support training evenings where they can be sat in a classroom working through the scenarios, and we can be interacting by typing back and forth. There's always another option, or I can pick up these at a later date. So just some of the features there. Really good tool. For me, I think for delivering training, instead of sitting in a classroom looking at PowerPoints and bits and pieces, we can actually use it as a two-way integration with the students, and everyone can interact. They can operate the mouse, they can apply things how they think, and as a group we can discuss the right and wrongs, pros and cons of what's been done, or like I say, discuss other methods. Check it out. If you've got any comments or questions, or you want anything, contact the developers directly. Don't come through myself. They have got a contact page there, so you can get in touch. Get online, register, have a play with it, see what you think about it, feed any feedback back to you. So it's just one of these things I thought I'd share with you. I've been using it. I think it's a brilliant tool. I've been using it within my service as an instructor. There's loads of development coming from what I gather, and it's a really, really useful tool, and something that's helped us out quite a lot. And like I say, even individuals can go back and just sit at home, run through the scenarios and practice doing things just to refresh themselves. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you found it useful. Like I say, beats being at a scrapyard, doesn't it? Sitting here in a nice warm room. Well, it's warm anyway, it's got a bit of summer in it, or British summer, raining, I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Take care. You've been watching rtcrescue.com.